gentlemen, I am your host, Chris Crenshaw, and we are live from the 704 once again for episode 121 of the 815 Exchange. And well. World Cup is in full swing currently as I am recording this. By the way, which we'll talk about this when we get there, but we'll also talk about it right now. There has been an absurd amount of stoppage time in the World Cup this year. Not at like halftime, but I'm talking about like at the end of games. There has been an absurd amount of stoppage time given, which I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's been a lot of stoppage time. Currently, South Korea and Ghana are putting on a very, very good game, which I had to come away from to, of course, record this week's episode. But yeah, that game's been very good so far. I think Ghana's up 3-2, and we're 10 minutes of stoppage time. So yeah, but we'll talk about World Cup stuff when we get to World Cup stuff. But that's in full swing. Boy, oh boy, what a week in college football, because some people got exposed. You know, the pretenders showed themselves, the contenders showed themselves. So we got plenty to talk about there. And just kind of the Heisman, Stormzy dropped. You know, plenty to talk about. All right, we got plenty to talk about this week. Some stuff happened in basketball. We'll talk about that in the Roundup. As always, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content. And listen, everything you were looking for. If you want to skip to any of those aforementioned topics, feel free to skip ahead. Timestamps are provided in the description, as well are all of my social media links. So, well, not links, but my social media handles you can follow. Also in the outro if you stay long enough for that. But thank you for 800. We have reached 800 subscribers. So we get closer. I guess 900 is now the new benchmark. So on the road to 900 officially. The sport's been crazy recently. So yeah, loving that. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we know why you're here. So let's get to it, all right? College football. The home team, of course, our season is done, so nothing to talk about, nothing to report, you know, on the 704. So we're going straight to the national schedule, and it kicked off early, all right? It was Thanksgiving week, so happy Thanksgiving to everybody as well. You know, hopefully you got your Black Friday deals. It's Cyber Sunday, you know, whatever. Cyber Monday, excuse me. Whatever, you know. But it means college football started a little bit earlier this week. We started on Thursday. We started on Thanksgiving. A lot of stuff happened on Thanksgiving. But we kicked off, of course, with the Egg Bowl. Mississippi State, Mississippi. Of course, clouding this year's Egg Bowl was a lot of talk about whether Lane Kiffin was going to stay or not. A lot of rumblings earlier in the week, which were very clearly answered by Lane Kiffin about whether he was taking the Auburn job or not. He ain't taking it. But he ain't taking this win either against Mississippi State. Mike Leach comes out on top as the Bulldogs take out the Rebels 24-22. Will Rogers wasn't his finest game, wasn't his finest hour, but he showed up when it mattered. 239, 2 touchdowns, 3 turnovers, like I said, for Rogers. So it wasn't his finest performance. But you know what? He did enough. Dart also wasn't bad. 30 for 38, 250, 2 touchdowns. Showed a lot of good traits that I have a lot of people high on Jackson Dart. But unfortunately, Mississippi State just was better. All right, they just were better. It was a deserved win, and yeah, they outplayed Ole Miss. Maybe you could say there was a little bit of distractions going into the week that were unnecessary because of the situation with Lane or whatever you want to call it. But it's what happened. Mississippi State gets the win. Tulane and Cincy. Winner goes to the AAC Championship. Of course, this also has big news because of something we'll talk about when we wrap this whole thing up in terms of the college football segments. But Tulane has been so impressive this year, and they keep it going as they take down Cincinnati, take down the Kings of the AAC in their last stand, 27-24. Ty J. Spears, 181 on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Monty for Cincy wasn't too bad. Montgomery, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. Looking like David, but not enough. Spears, once again, ran wild on that Bearcats defense. And Tulane, this is the culmination of what's been an incredible season for them, taking out what has been pretty much the top dog, especially lately, in Cincinnati in that conference. So, yeah, congratulations to Tulane. They get the win. Great way of keeping going. Big game here in the state of North Carolina. We got NC State taking on UNC. Always a great rivalry game. Always some chaos that happens. And once again, we had some chaos. Now, I was off shooting, being a photographer during this game, but I was watching it while it was happening. And boy, oh boy, getting those score updates was something. State gets it done 30-27. Carolina, 2 OTs. Ben Finley. This is not the first, not the second, not the third, but the fourth. The fourth string quarterback for NC State. The fourth. And he still showed up. 271, 2 touchdowns for Ben Finn. Carter, he's a model of consistency. 6 receptions, 130 and a touchdown. Big game for him. But oh my goodness. Burnett, the kicker for UNC. Might need to be in hiding right now in Chapel Hill. Missed a field goal in the game, missed one in overtime. It ends up costing them as NC State gets the ball back and they kick the OT rules. They kick the field goal, they walk the game off in Chapel Hill. So, just to make things worse, Drake May didn't play his finest game either. Seems like teams may have figured out Drake. We'll see how he can adjust, how Carolina adjusts. Yeah, rough 2 weeks for North Carolina. Actually in everything. When I think about it, it's been a rough 2 weeks. It was a rough weekend though. It was a rough weekend for Carolina. But we'll get to that when we talk about basketball. But it was a rough weekend. Got outplayed. State gets it done in the clutch. Congratulations to the Wolfpack. Florida State and Florida. Like I said, it's hate week. It's rivalry week, and this one has plenty of that. Florida State taking on Florida. Florida State gets the win, 45-38. Mike Norvell's got them boys rolling. AR-15 started this game, I think, 6 for 6 with 3 touchdowns. Passing. He finished the game at 9 for 27, 239 in those 3 touchdowns. He missed not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, not 10, not 11, not 12, not 13, not 14, not 15, but 16 straight incompletions, which I don't even know how that's possible, but 16 straight incompletions, I believe, for AR-15 and what was a disastrous second half for Florida. Etienne, on the other hand, was ready. The boy was looking like his brother. 128 a touchdown. He's a problem. He is a problem. He's going to be a problem going forward. Would not be surprised to see him emerge, just like his brother did, as one of the best running backs in the country. Clemson, I don't know how you fumbled this, but guess what? Baby Etienne is here. Ricky Purcell, 5 receptions, 148, 2 touchdowns. Played the game of his life. Unfortunately, he had the majority of AR-15's completions, though he played a great game. That was about it because, a disastrous second half through the air for Florida, and it ends up costing them ultimately. Jordan Travis, what a game. He wasn't the most efficient, but what a game. 353 and 3 touchdowns for him. Benson, 162 total yards and a hat trick for him. Just a crazy, crazy game. Another game that went down to the clutch. Back and forth here in the fourth quarter. Etienne break off a long run, and Travis leads them down the field. They score a touchdown. Just a back and forth game. It was a great game. Florida, unfortunately, ran out of gas. Like I said, AR-15. We saw the brilliance of him. Saw him at his peak, where he's this Heisman contender. He's this amazing player. But you also saw the worst of AR. And, we just kind of got the both sides of that coin. And ultimately, it wasn't enough. Florida State wins a huge rivalry matchup and takes bragging rights. Fights on. USC takes on Notre Dame. Now, I said we were going to get clipped by either Notre Dame or Oregon. We'll talk about Oregon when we get there. But first, let's talk about Notre Dame because, we didn't get clipped. We definitely did not get clipped. In fact, Caleb Williams took control of the Heisman race as he seems to be the overwhelming favorite due to a couple of things we are going to talk about very, very soon. Wink, wink, Michigan, Ohio State. Caleb Williams, 267, 4 touchdowns. Caleb, he's him. He had 3 touchdowns rushing. He's him. What more can I say? He's him. He cannot, for some reason, even though he took a horrific sack in this game, cannot be tackled. I don't know. I know a lot of people were surprised. It went viral. There was a bunch of photos. I mean, it was a great highlight play, but he does it every single game. I'm going to be honest, he does it every single game. Not that I'm used to it, not that it's not a highlight, but he just, I don't know. Dude just cannot be sacked. It's Mahomes-like. The way he moves is very much so Mahomes-like, and it's not disrespect to any player, honestly, because Caleb is just that good. He's very, very much so Mahomes-like. But, still very much so Caleb Williams. I think he's a little bit more athletic than Mahomes. But nonetheless, Austin Jones also needs the honorable mention, even though Caleb is a Heisman. Austin Jones steps up for Travis. He's been great all year. 154 yards in this game. He was the catalyst that kind of kept this offense moving along with Caleb. We don't win this game without Austin Jones. Drew Pine, on his stat sheet, you're probably thinking, my goodness, he played the game of his life. How did they lose? The man went 23 for 26, 318, 3 touchdowns. He had just as many touchdowns as he had incompletions. How did they lose this game? Mike Meyer, 8, 98, 2 touchdowns. Well, the defense was not great. To be completely honest. Notre Dame's defense, which has been a lot better since the start of the season, kind of went back to those old kind of ways in this game. Again, we have one of the best offenses in the country, obviously led by Heisman contender, if not Heisman favorites. But Notre Dame's defense they weren't there, especially when it came to running the ball. They struggled with that a lot. Even though we shot ourselves in the foot, made it a little bit easier for them, they just didn't have it. Pine threw a very costly interception when they had a chance late. And you know what? USC gets the Schley fight on. We head to the Pac-12 championship. Michigan, Ohio State. You know what? I got no remorse for OSU fans. I really don't. I really, really don't. Because y'all were talking reckless. I mean, y'all have been moving recklessly all year. There's been a sense of some type of superiority that you felt towards everybody. And again, everybody just licking up everything CJ Stroud, even though every single week it seems I come on here and I tell you he's not that guy. Do you believe me now? That's my question. Do you believe me when I tell you CJ Stroud is just not that? He's a good quarterback. He's just not that guy, though. He's not. Do you believe me now? Because you should. Because Michigan did not just beat Ohio State. They did not just defeat Ohio State. They broke Ohio State in this game. They get the win 45-23. 20-piece them. Okay, J.J. McCarthy. They won this game, by the way, without Blake Corum, who I think maybe had... I don't even know if Blake played. He may have sat the entire game. J.J. McCarthy, 294 touchdowns. And everybody worries with Michigan is the run game. Reasonably so. In this game, reasonably so. But do not forget J.J. McCarthy, 5-star quarterback. He's very, very talented. They decided to air it out and worked out. He had 290 and 4 touchdowns. Cornelius Johnson, 4 receptions, 160 and 2 touchdowns in the biggest game of his life. Donovan Edwards, filling in for Blake Corum, showed why this is not just the Blake Corum show. You know, Donovan Edwards can also go. 216 and 2 touchdowns, including 2 back-to-back back-breaking runs of 70-plus in the fourth quarter to put this one to bed. Ohio State had no spine. They gave up. They got broken. Michigan broke Ohio State. Make no mistake about it. They broke them. They went into your house, went into your trap and took over. Simple. Stroud, once again, you know he's going to throw for 300 yards. He has the best receiving corps in America. 349 this week. 2 touchdowns, but 2 very, very costly picks. One very stupid, the other also not very smart, honestly, to be completely honest with you. Though credit to DJ Turner and that Michigan somersault, everybody on that Michigan defense and secondary. Applied some pressure to Stroud and he broke. When it mattered, he folded. Emeka Bunka, 9 receptions, 125 and a touchdown. Marvin Harrison Jr., 7 receptions, 120 and a touchdown. The receiving corps, like I said, they're always going to do what they do. Stroud didn't show up. The defense didn't show up. I mean, Stroud showed up, but he folded. Defense, they didn't really show up. However, Michigan showed up. Michigan showed up, and they made a statement. At Ohio State, came in, took over, dominated, and won without their best player. Their best player. They won this game without their best player. Congrats to the Wolverines. A well-deserved number 2. You could even argue number 1 overall ranking will be incoming, and Ohio State is left reeling. Another team that's currently reeling, and that is Clemson. Oh my goodness, Clemson. South Carolina is on fire right now. They take out their rivals 31-30 for the first time in 8 years. Spencer Rattler apparently is back. 362 touchdowns. He did throw 2 picks. Antoine Wells Jr. also played a great game. 9 receptions, 131, and 2 touchdowns. Could not be covered. DJ. When I read, AR-15's completion percentage in stat line, I was like, all right, that might be the worst kind of completion percentage. We'll see all week. Then I saw DJ's. 8 for 29. 99. He didn't get 199 yards. Clemson is supposed to be a contender. We've seen how great Clemson's been over the past decade with Dabo. And the best y'all can do is 8 for 29, 99. Unbelievable. Unbelievably horrid game for DJ. Will Shipley had 132 yards. Y'all should have ran the wheels off. And I don't know why they don't. Brandon Streeter, I don't know how he has a job besides nepotism. Dabo needs to update his terms and conditions. Straight up. He needs to adjust with the times. I get you have your culture, you're set in it, but you gotta adapt. Because if Clemson does not adapt, they are going to get left behind. And right now it feels like they are going to get left behind. They are struggling in this new kind of atmosphere in a post-Trevor Lawrence world. They just have not been the same. They have not been the same. They don't have the same talent. They don't have the same coaching. They just don't have, and the coaching wasn't even great when Trevor was there. It just has not been the same. We'll see if Clemson can adapt, but this is a program, should be a wake-up call loss, losing to South Carolina. Not that South Carolina's bad. They'll be ranked this week, but embarrassing. Congrats to Scar. Congrats to Beamer. He's getting that contract extension. He's done a great job at South Carolina, but an embarrassing loss for Clemson. Oregon had the world in the palm of their hands. They controlled their destiny. All they had to do was win the Civil War. All they had to do was beat Oregon State. They would face us, might even beat us in the Pac-12. Who knows, maybe they go to the playoff. That's all they had to do. That's all they had to do. Unfortunately, they could not do that because Oregon State came back from 31 down. 31-10. The score was 31-10, and they folded. Oregon State ends up winning the game 38-34. Martinez had 103 yards rushing, but that's not the big story, honestly, okay? Bo Nix, 327, 2 touchdowns. Chase Cota, 9 receptions, 136, 1 touchdown. Whatever. They did not run the ball. After it was 31-10, they ran the ball every single play, and Oregon could not stop it. They came back exclusively running the ball. It was like watching a service academy play, and Oregon could not stop them. Could not for the life of them stop them. I don't know if it's because it was in Corvallis. I don't know what it was. I don't know if you're all tired. They just could not stop them, and they lost. Up 21, world in your hands. 4 minutes to go left in the third quarter. Finish the game. You got Bo Nix with one leg playing the game, and the best game possible, and you fold. Then you get down there with the chance to win, and you fold again because Oregon State's defense shows up, and y'all don't put the ball in Bo's hands. I got nothing to say to y'all. But laugh. All I can do is laugh at Oregon. Just a humiliating loss to your arch rival at their place. You just couldn't get it done. You had the world in your hands. Everything was finished, said and done, and you could not finish. You just could not finish the game. Got ran all over, and simply put, congratulations to Oregon State. Well done. Oregon, you embarrassed yourselves. And then because of what happened in the Apple Cup, you lost out on the Pac-12 championship. Ducks pack in the air. And before we get to that Apple Cup matchup, Texas A&M LSU, okay? Because right now I'm just addressing my ops at this point, okay? I'm going to be honest with you, we're just addressing all of my ops. So Oregon addressed, okay? Ohio State to an extent, not really an op, but you know what? They've been moving kind of crazy. Addressed. Now I'm going to address, not because LSU is an op, but the committee is an op, okay? Because the committee last week had the audacity to rank LSU with 2 losses. To rank them ahead of USC for Reasons I don't really know. Besides them just being the SEC, and you know how you know how they do. You know how the committee does with the SEC. They, you know how they do. Only reason I can think. Only reason I can think. Only reason that makes any sense. So, LSU with the world in their hands, the committee literally gifting them. I mean, gift wrapping them a playoff spot potentially, or a chance to be in the playoff. I mean, handing it to them on the most silver of platters. All you have to do to get to the SEC championship, all you have to do to prove that you're the number 5 team, and probably even move up to 4 at this rate, because you know how committee does with the SEC. All you had to do was beat the worst team in the SEC this year, who happened to be Texas A&M. All you had to do was beat them. Just like Ohio State, just like Oregon, just like the rest of my ops this week, just like North Carolina. You couldn't do it. You just couldn't do it, and you lost to the worst team in the SEC this year. They lost to Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher got them boys ready, and they ran wild on the LSU Tigers. All right, Connor Weidman finally starts, the 5-star freshman, 155 and 2 touchdowns, but the stat line doesn't tell the full story. It was a different type of energy for TAMU this week. It was a different type of, maybe it's because they were playing with nothing to lose, whatever you want to say. Connor, he was a spark plug for this Texas A&M team. They moved differently with him at quarterback. But the reason they won this game was because of Kine. Devon Kine was unstoppable. 215 and 2 touchdowns. In his final collegiate game, he made a statement. He made a statement against an LSU team that everybody was singing their praises. Brian Kelly this, Daniels this, Ojolari, Harold Perkins. Even I have been on the Harold Perkins especially train. Yeah, we ain't gonna hear none of that this week. Alright, there ain't gonna be none of that this week. 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also, Moose Muhammad, 704 native. 5 receptions, 94 yards, and a touchdown. Stunned like your daddy. Moose showed up big time. LSU couldn't do anything with him, even though it was supposed to be, DBU. The only positive in this game for LSU was John Emery getting a hat trick, rushing touchdowns. But besides that, TAMU cooked LSU. Cooked them. And that's what the committee gets for ranking LSU ahead of USC for whatever magical reason. Also ranking Alabama above Tennessee also makes absolutely no sense. You're not slick. Committee pack in the air too. Washington and Washington State. I said I was going to get to the Apple Cup. And of course, we got to use Pac-12 after dark for the finale, because it's only right. This game was madness. Absolute madness. Washington wins 51-33. Washington's offense is unstoppable. However, they don't really play defense. However, it makes for some great games. We had 2 of the most underrated quarterbacks, in my opinion, in the country in this game, and they both went off. Michael Penix went 485 and 3 touchdowns. He always puts up these most ludicrous stat lines. He's leading the league country in passing yards, by the way. Cam Ward, 322 and 2 touchdowns for the Cougars. However, Washington, like I said, they got it done. Talia Papa, 126 and a touchdown. Aduzune, 5 receptions, 157 and a touchdown. McMillan, 6 receptions, 150 and a touchdown. They also had 6 sacks of Cam Ward. It was an excellent game offensively for Washington. And the defense, you know what? They had a little bit of pass rush, even though Ward still did Ward things. The offensive production was just too much, overwhelmed that Washington State defense. And even though the Cougars offense showed up, the defense gotta show you gotta show up. There's 3 sides to the game. You can't just win when one shows up, and that was evidence here. Even though Washington's defense didn't play too great, but I think that's more of an indication of how good Ward is. But yeah, shout out to Kalen DeBoer. He's done great work for the Huskies, and Michael Penix, one of the most underrated players in the game. And because of this means that Utah is advancing to the Pac-12 championship. Because once again, Oregon folded against Oregon State. They needed Washington State to win, but that didn't happen, of course. So Washington sends Utah to go face us in the rematch, which I'm terrified about. But you know what? We'll see. I'm riding on Diane on Friday. Excuse me. And to end off this college football segment that has been very, very long, but we have plenty to talk about. Luke Fickell, Cincinnati. I said I was going to say it. Yeah, Luke Fickell's headed to Wisconsin. Rest in peace. I'm so sorry. Prayers. Okay? Prayers, Cincinnati. Literally the worst thing that could happen, but you know what? Can't be mad. Fickle did a lot of great things for the Bearcats, but he is headed to Wisconsin. David Shaw leaves Stanford. UCF and USF put on a classic, even though USF is 1 and whatever. Still a crazy game. Unfortunately, because the UCF is moving to the Big 12. Unfortunately, it's the end of the rivalry, which is a disgrace. But yeah, another crazy game. UCF wins on a one-handed catch to win the game. It was ridiculous. Also, Kenny Dillingham, Oregon's offense coordinator, headed to Arizona State. He got hired there. Going to be a very young head coach. We've seen a lot more of those nowadays. But yeah, that was the week in college football. It was madness. But rest in peace to all of my ops. Now, the World Cup. Alright, the World Cup is on and popping. Alright, it's one of the most wonderful times of the year. It's a great time. It's a great time. Simply put, it is a great time. It is a great time. We're going to go through the table. I'm trying to check this Ghana-South Korea score. You saw me pull up my phone. And yeah, Ghana held out. Alright, so Ghana held out. Shout out to Kudos because he balled out in this game. But yeah, let's just go down the tables. Alright, keep it very simple here. It is the last match day of match day 2 before match day 3 starts tomorrow, and it's probably a lot of stress for me. But let's get it. Alright, Group A. Netherlands currently lead and pretty much just need to win or get a draw at this point to advance here. Actually, they need a draw. Let's be real, they need a draw. The story of this group has been Cody Gakpo. Alright, the Cody Gakpo has been unbelievable. Okay? He's been unbelievable this season for PSV. He's been unbelievable in this World Cup for the Netherlands. He's been great. Absolutely great. He's going to make PSV a whole lot of money. 2 goals in 2 games. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get another one. Like I said, Netherlands tied with Ecuador with 4. They need at least a draw, in my opinion, I think, to get out of here. Who plays? Netherlands plays Qatar. Yeah. So really, just need to get a win, and you're in against Qatar at this point because Qatar is eliminated. By the way, first host nation to be the first team eliminated in their own World Cup. So yeah, more history for Qatar. Not always good, but you know what? That's how it is. Ecuador and Senegal going to be very interesting. They're playing pretty much for it. Senegal needs to win. Ecuador needs at least to tie. So that should be very interesting. But yeah, Cody Gakpo going crazy. Group B, that's us. Drew both of our games last week. All right, and then drew a crazy, tense game versus England. I was losing it during that game. And then when we put Shaq Moore in for whatever reason, I was just like, oh dear God. But yeah, we ended up in a 0-0 stalemate. So, you know what? I'll take it. It simply means what we knew before before the World Cup, when we were looking at it, what we were going to have to do. We're going to have to beat Iran. I said it last week. We're just going to have to beat Iran. Iran can live with a tie and no advance, but we have to beat Iran. Simply put. No other way to, no offense, we have to beat Iran. And you know what? I don't know if we can. It's going to be a tough game. Iran just beat Wales. Nearly sent Wales to the another round. But you know what? They need to beat England and the need for either Iran, I think Iran and us to tie or something like that. But they need to beat the brakes off of England. England needs a result too. So Group B has been just as chaotic as everybody predicted. England looked great the game 1 and didn't look too great against us. Honestly, outplayed them. Pulisic won man of the match, even though it should have went to the midfield of McKenzie, Adams, or Musai, because they bossed it. All right, they were great. Mason Mount has been non-existent. He has disappeared. A lot of people wondering why Gio Reyna, why Phil Foden didn't get more game time in that game. But nonetheless, the 0-0 game, we ended a stalemate. I'll take the point. We just got to win versus Iran tomorrow. Poland is leading Group C, which is not what I expected going into this, but you know what? It's what's happened, all because Argentina lost to Saudi Arabia. Now, Messi's got them back on track, even though reports are coming out that he might be headed to the MLS. But anyways, I think Argentina gets it back on track. They just beat Mexico. They face Poland next. So that will be for, who wins the group. Poland, of course, needs at least one. I don't think they really want to take a loss here, especially with KSA breathing down their neck. Mexico could also be a favor. So once again, Group C, very, very interesting. Poland with the win, jumped out up front. Argentina getting upset, put them in a little bit of a hole. But it looks like they got back on track against Mexico. We'll see what Messi and Co can do. France is looking terrifying. All right, Mbappe has been a monster. I mean, he is a monster, but he is looking like the best player on the planet, which I've said multiple times on this podcast, so I really shouldn't be a surprise that I'm saying this. He has looked like the best player on the planet. And he might not even have been the most impressive player on that team. Griezmann with France, this is just a different breed. We all thought France were going to struggle without, all the injuries, Benzema, Pogba, Conte, so on and so forth. We thought they were going to struggle. They have not shown any glimpse, not a chink in the armor, all right? There has been no weakness, no signs of weakness. Not against Australia, not against Denmark, and now they played Tunisia, who are last. They already advanced. They got their 6 points. They're finished. I expect them to rest some guys, especially with them dealing with all the injuries. But yeah, France through easy. Australia and Denmark will play for second place. Denmark needs to win. Australia just needs to, get a draw, so that'll be very interesting. Spain leads Group E thanks to that young midfield. Gavi and Pedri have been the goods. All right, they have been the goods. But so is Morata. All right, Morata has been very, very good for Spain so far. Something about him. Again, he's another player. Some players just rise to the occasion with their international, and he's one of them. All right, no matter if he gets selected, no matter his form, he just seems to show up for Spain. He showed up last game, helped get them that win to bring them top of the group. It's going to be very interesting now. All right, we are in a very interesting situation because Germany is last because they folded against Spain. They are last in the group. They need to win. Japan and Costa Rica. Costa Rica somehow pulled off the win, by the way, against Japan. So now they sit both at 3. Costa Rica got hammered. All right, they got hammered by Spain in game 1. They got hammered, by the way. And they're down 6 on the goal differential. So it's not great there. They got to win. So it's going to be a very, very, very interesting last match day in that group. One of the more interesting because any of those 4 teams can advance, especially with Germany. They have the talent, but can they put it together and get the win, get the result? Japan and Costa Rica playing for a lot, playing to pull the upset, and Spain just wants to make sure they don't fold. They've got the goal differential. Can they finish? Group F, Croatia and Morocco currently tied. Belgium sitting at 3. Canada is eliminated. Not what I expected, but you know what? Canada, Davies, they get the goal. So at least they got a goal here in the World Cup for our northern neighbors. However, it just was not to be. That was, just wasn't to be. Simply put, just wasn't to be. Morocco has been impressive. They just beat Belgium. So, ain't no telling. They'll get Canada. Canada has nothing but pride to play for. Morocco is playing to move on. Croatia and Belgium is going to be a riot, though. Okay, that is going to be an insane game with both teams needing a win. That should be a very good one. Group G, Brazil and Switzerland are tied at the top. Cameroon and Serbia tied at 3 and 4. Or I guess it should just be, say, tied at 3rd. Brazil needs to win. Switzerland needs to win. I mean, just everybody. Similar to needs to win. You got 3-3, 1-1. Simply put, win the game, you're in. Simply, that's it. Group H, of course, is going on today. So, that's still ongoing. Ghana is currently tied with Portugal because they just beat Korea. Korea is not eliminated, but they do need to win their next game. And, of course, Portugal and Uruguay play today. We'll see what happens there. We'll see if Ronaldo can get it done. And, if Portugal wins, they're through. We'll see what happens. But, the World Cup has been a madness. All right, it's been a madness. Richarlison for Brazil scored an insane goal. He's also been phenomenal. So, I say Gakpo, Mbappe, and who am I forgetting? Enter Valencia as well for Ecuador have been phenomenal. So, some stars emerging here in this World Cup. But it's been great. It's been a great World Cup period. Having a lot of fun watching. And, apologies ahead of time for any of my professors if you're watching this. I'm probably not going to be paying attention in class because I may have a stream pulled up, especially on Tuesday because, that US-Iran game is going to be stress. All right, entertainment. Quick entertainment segment this week. Of course, we're going to talk about Chainsaw Man. You know what it is. Denji is still the most down bad character, but you know what? He's also up good. He's also up good. Took on the Eternity Devil, and literally, you got to be a different breed to ask the a devil built off of being able to do something for eternity begs you for death. That's crazy. That is crazy. And that's why Denji is a different breed. Alright, however, the drink scene was crazy. Now, it's been much hyped. You know, apparently this is where we really start heading off the rails. But I couldn't have even expected what happened in that scene, in that whole kind of sequence. Himeneo was on one. Alright, she was on one. Got hammered. Makima shows up. They do the drinking contest. Aki, it finally, even though we kind of all knew, he's also in love with Makima. They talked about, having screws loose. Now we see that Himeneo definitely has some screws loose. Because, he gets hammered. Gives Denji his first kiss, but then she pukes in his mouth. And then she takes him back. Forgets that she had him there. And then she seduces him. And asks him if he wants to do it. It's just madness. Alright, Denji went from down horrendous, getting puked. Disgusting. One of the most disgusting scenes you'll see. Gets puked in one. First kiss. Then she brings him back and propositions him. Aki don't even know what's up to him. It was just an insane episode. Super entertaining though, but just an absolutely insane episode of Chainsaw Man. This anime is ridiculous, but yeah, it's still the goods. But my goodness, what an episode. Stormzy dropped, alright? Stormzy dropped. This is what I mean. And I was a little bit concerned after Fire Babe. I'm not gonna lie. After Fire, I was a little bit concerned. I was like, he might be dipping a little bit too much into the singing bag. I don't know how this is gonna go. But you know what? The production on this album and the overall vibe ended up working. This Is What I Mean was my favorite track. Besides Mel Made Me Do It. But yeah, This Is What I Mean ended up being my favorite track on the album. I'm gonna give it an 8.3. Not an album of the year contender in my opinion. Not one of the elite. But it's not bad, it's not mid, so yeah, I'll give it an 8.3. I enjoyed it. It was different. He went a little different way, but you know what? It wasn't too bad. He executed it. And again, the production was great. Absolutely great on this album. It was a vibe. And it showed a different side, a more humanized side of Stormzy. So yeah, he did very well. 8.3. I feel like that's a fair rating. And yeah, Stormzy, This Is What I Mean. This Is What I Mean, also my favorite song. Go check it out if you haven't already, because it's a very good project, alright? Good project. Now for the NFL, alright? It's the NFL. Of course, Thanksgiving games were this week. So we will be talking about 3 games that start on Thursday to kick us off here. But still, plenty of interesting stuff happened this week. It was not a great... I've been slumping in fantasy, to be completely honest. But you know what? It's okay, because the Cowboys won, alright? The Cowboys won on Thanksgiving to lift my spirits. I'm so appreciative. I'm so appreciative. The Giants did score in garbage time, but it doesn't really matter, right? We won, okay? We won, Giants, all right? We won, okay? We won. All right, Dak Prescott, again, continues to put it together a little bit more, even though he struggled to start this game due to interceptions. Starting to put the pieces together, I think. In my opinion, I think Dak is starting to get back more and more, getting more and more into a rhythm as the week goes on. Even though it wasn't his finest game this week, 21 for 30, 261 and 2 touchdowns. Zeke played one of the best games I've seen Zeke play in a minute. I'm going to be completely honest. Not that he's been bad this year, but he looked like the Zeke of old at times in this game. 92 yards and a touchdown for Zeke, along with 22. C.D. Lamb went crazy. 6 receptions, 106, and you can argue he should have had that touchdown one-handed back in the end zone. He had a couple of those. I mean, dude was just phenomenal, right? He looked like the number 1 receiver that we drafted him to become. He looked like that in this game. Impressive performance for CD. And yeah, defense made plays when they need to happen versus the Giants. Never really let DJ get comfortable. The running game for them never really got off track. Saquon only had 39 yards. Did get in the box, but only had 39 yards. Like I said, defense showed up big time. C.D. Lamb and the playmakers for the Cowboys made plays when they need to happen. And we got the win on Thanksgiving. The Bills taking on the Lions in what was a very, very good game. A back-and-forth game at that one. that last 3 minutes were bananas. All right, Josh Allen gets it from Diggs. Bass misses the extra point. That only makes it 25-22. Lions drive down the field. Michael Badgley hits a 51-yarder with 23 seconds left to tie the game. So you're thinking 23 seconds, Lions got to be thinking, all right, we're headed into overtime. We're okay. Somehow, someway, Josh Allen finds Stephon Diggs yet again. 2 seconds to go, Tyler Bass redeems himself, walks it off from 45. An absolutely incredible game. Probably the best game of the Thanksgiving games, if I had to say so myself. Just an insane ending. Allen ends with 253 and 2 touchdowns to go along with 78 yards rushing and a touchdown there, so 3 touchdowns total. Jared Goff gets 240 and 2 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 9 receptions, 122 and a touchdown. He was the man in this game for the Lions. But once again, the defense just could not make those stops late and kind of crumbled. They crumbled. Diggs and Allen, that connection started linking up. They got into that rhythm, and the Lions just could not do anything about it. And it was like watching something inevitable happen. It was unbelievable to watch, but it was just like it was inevitable. It felt like it was inevitable. Diggs finishes with 877 and a touchdown. Of course, that touchdown, the most important of all, to really get this thing kick-started. And the Bills win a thriller versus the Lions. The Vikings take out the Patriots. They redeemed themselves from last week to blow out to us. As this game, the Pats stayed in it for a lot of this game, but it's a 4-quarter game. And they didn't really show up in the 4th quarter. Matt Jones played his best game of the season, 28 for 39, 382 and 2 touchdowns. But Kirk O Chains return, 299 and 3 touchdowns for him, so he gets the hat trick. Justin Jefferson is outrageous. All right, I said it last week or 2 weeks ago. There needs to be a conversation about him possibly being the best receiver in the league. I think there's a valid conversation that he might be the best receiver on the planet. He is just that good. It just felt like any time that Kirk dropped back and he threw his way, he was going to catch it. It was going to be a big game. He's him. He's him. Jettas is him. All right, 9 receptions, 139 and a touchdown in this game. He is him. Thielen and Hawk also get in the box to round out that. They get 3 sacks as a defense on Mac. But like I said, Mac played a solid game. But you only have 45 yards rushing, and there has to be some type of a balance if you want to win, especially a game this high scoring, especially against a team as good as the Vikings. And the Pats just simply did not have that. And the Vikings get it done in the 4th quarter. They show up at home and get the win. Now let's go to Sunday. All right, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers continue to live in the house of pure mid. All right, this might be the most mid to mediocre team we've seen in some time. I mean, this is the definition, at least this season. They are the definition of mid. They're 5-6. You could also say the definition of mediocrity, because once again, they're 5-6, and they lose to teams like the Cleveland Browns. Here in overtime, 23-17. Nick Chubb walks it off. After Njoku catches an outrageous pass from Brissett, 32 seconds left in the game. It's tied. Now, I have to give some credit to the Browns, even though I'm saying, they're garbage, they suck, blah, 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 blah. Jacoby Brissett got that dog in him. Stat line doesn't look too pretty, 210, 1 touchdown, but he had that dog in him at the end of the game. All right? When it was time to show up, and it was time to make plays in the clutch, and that's going to be a recurring theme this week in the NFL, as it was in college football. When it was time to make plays in the clutch, he showed up. I can't say that much about the Buccaneers defense, which I feel has regressed. Even though they only allowed 23 points, I feel like they've regressed in some aspects. Can't even really put this game on Brady. Man had 246 and 2 touchdowns. Chris Godwin had 12 receptions, 110. But they just didn't show up in the clutch. They didn't show up when it matters. When it was time to close the door, shut the game down, they folded. They froze. And the Browns kept fighting. And Nick Chubb continues to be one of the best running backs. Better be all-pro this year. 116 and a touchdown for Chubb. Continued to fight. And they got a harder win at home. And yeah, Bucks just, again, mid. Bengals. King of the North is back. All right, I'm going to say it. He's back. Burrow, 270 and a touchdown in this game. T. Higgins picking up for Chase, 7 receptions, 114 and a touchdown. They've been just fine. They've honestly hit almost a hot streak without Chase there, which is insane to even say. But yeah, it seems like the King of the North is back, all right? As they beat the Titans on the road, get a huge road win. Derrick Henry, man, don't you wish you had that touchdown for all your fantasy owners. Every fantasy owner of Derrick Henry, don't you wish you had that touchdown. But, yeah, fumble, even though they ended up getting a touchdown, so it ended up costing them. But the man only had 38 yards. They did a great job, the Bengals defense in this game, shutting down, containing King Henry, and making sure he didn't run wild or get any type of momentum going in that run game. And yeah, they shut down the Titans. Simply put, made enough plays on offense with Higgins and Burrow just being that. And yeah, beat the Titans on the road. Huge win, since he looking like they might be back. The Dolphins. If Tua wasn't injured, he'd be in the MVP conversation. It'd be him and Mahomes if Tua had not gotten hurt. But anyways, again, they were playing the Texans, so let me relax. But no, let me give him his flowers, all right? 299 and a touchdown. It wasn't his finest performance, but he has been consistently. How many times this year on this podcast have I been like, Tua had a down game? Maybe once, if any. He has been consistently great, and the Dolphins did a great job building that offense around him and building to his strengths, giving him Cheetah, giving him Waddle, giving him Gesicki, giving him going and picking up Wilson in the run game. He got a touchdown in this game. They did a great job building this team. And yeah, they're reaping the benefits of it, in my opinion, and doing a great job. They take out the Texans, who again are very much so in contention for the number 1 overall pick. So congratulations to Bryce Young or for C.J. Stroud. You were probably going to be a Houston Texan. Kyle Allen got the start. He threw 2 picks. They tried to come back in the second half. They were down 30-0 at halftime, but it just wasn't to be. Miami gets another win. The Jets take out the Bears. Justin Fields did not play in this game, and neither did Zach Wilson. However, Fields is going to get his job back. Zach Wilson is not. 22 for 28. Mike White showed up and showed out. 318 and 3 touchdowns for Mike White. He looked like he was the answer. We haven't seen Zach Wilson really do that this year. We haven't seen him play as good as Mike White. It's not looking good. It's not looking good for old Zachy boy. He might be out of a job. Garrett Wilson continues to be great. Another sublime performance for G. Will. 5 receptions, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chase Claypool. I mean, Sauce pretty much did Sauce Gardner things, but he did get caught slipping once. He got caught slipping once. I saw that. But otherwise, the man only had 2 receptions, 51 yards. So let's relax about that whole, he's, blah, blah, blah. Let's relax on that. Montgomery also did some stuff receiving-wise, but overall, nothing too crazy of a game for him. And like I said, Mike White showcase. He was fantastic. The Jets look very, very good in this game. Get a much-needed win versus the Bears. Zach Wilson is not going to get that job back. The Commanders take out the Falcons 19-13. Yeah, nothing too crazy. B-Rob, Brian Robinson, what a turnaround. After getting shot earlier this year, he comes back. He's been great. 105 yards on the ground for him in this game. Heineke gets another win. What more can I say, all right? Heineke, he's the guy. NFC Beast, you know the drill. Panthers take out the Broncos. Russell Wilson is fighting for his life. Fighting for his life, all right? I don't know why he came to Denver. Well, actually I do, because he got paid a bunch of money. But he has come to Denver to ruin his legacy, all right? Because I have never seen a man so highly regarded and respected just take such a nosedive. I mean, it's been horrible for him in Denver. And they get embarrassed by the Panthers of all teams this week. Gets yelled out by Purcell. It was a horrid game. 19 for 35, 142, and a touchdown. 4 man that's getting paid more money than you can even pretty much dream of. Yeah, 250 plus for what? For what? For a washed quarterback, apparently. Sam Darnold outplayed Russell Wilson, and that is just disgusting to say. 11 for 19, 164 and a touchdown. So you know what? Fight on. Deontay Foreman, by the way, looked like he was back in Texas. 111 yards in this game for him. But the Panthers get it done. The Broncos are down horrendous. The Ravens. Whoa, oh my gosh. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Ravens, what happened? I mean, I thought they had this game, down pat. It was a back and forth game, so it was one of the best games of the week. But 2 minutes to go, they find Josh Oliver playing against his old team. They get the 2-point conversion. They go up 27-20. I'm like, all right, we've seen this story a million times. Jaguars might get close, but they're not going to finish this. Trevor Lawrence went God mode. Trevor Lawrence turned into the Trevor Lawrence that we know him to possibly be. The one that we think he can be. The number 1 overall pick. The generational. He was him. Trevor Lawrence was him in all caps to finish this game. He took matters into his own hands and said, we are winning this game by all means necessary. And then they went for 2, and he delivered again. Doug Peterson lets his nuts hang. Trevor Lawrence plays amazing. 29 for 37, 321, and 3 touchdowns. And what was probably the best game of young T-Low's career. Lamar, 254 and a touchdown. He also had 89 yards rushing. Josh Oliver against his old team, 4 receptions, 76 yards, and a touchdown. He was very good, but it was not enough. It was not enough because Trevor Lawrence, like I said, took matters into his own hands. And it was like watching a Madden Robo quarterback. He could not miss, was making every throw, was making every decision. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was beautiful quarterback play. Zay Jones, 11 receptions, 145 in this game. Olakun had 18 tackles, by the way, in this game for that Jaguars defense. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence goes crazy at the end of this game, and the Jaguars pull off the upset. Again, you know what? If the Buccaneers are the epitome of mid, the Cardinals are the epitome of mediocre. The Chargers take out the Cardinals 25-24 because, of course, they just could not finish the game. Once again, who's going to make plays when it matters and who is not? The Cardinals prove that they are not one of those teams that is going to make a play. They take this big old L with 15 seconds to go. Eckler gets the pass from Herbert. Again, that connection's been sublime this year. They get the 2-point conversion to go and win the game. Connor had 120 yards, so there's a positive Cardinals. But other than that, nothing good to say about y'all. Jay Herbo returned. 274 and 3 touchdowns for him. Over 300 yards total. Congrats to Jay Herbo. Congrats to the Chargers. Because, boy, they needed this win. They needed this win. To try to get back in the playoff, they needed this win. The Cardinals embarrassed themselves yet again. What a surprise. You are mediocre. The Raiders beat the Seahawks. They pull off the upset. The Raiders, who have not been great, but Josh Jacobs went for 303 yards total. The man could not be stopped. He walked the game off with an 86-yard, which was the longest run in some time to walk off a game. Walked it off an OT. It was one of the best games of the week. Geno Smith did his thing. KW3 didn't have a lot of rushing yards. He only had 26, but he had 2 touchdowns. Metcalf had 11 receptions, 90 yards. Carr looked like a competent quarterback, had 295, 3 touchdowns. But once again, Josh Jacobs went ham. 229 and 2 touchdowns. He just could not be stopped. The Seahawks just could not do anything about them. And every time they would inch ahead, Josh Jacobs would be there like the Reaper to bring them right back. He was like Scorpion. He was like, get over here. Just every time the Seahawks tried to push it, it just got reeled back. Every single time, without fail. The man went off. He should be Offensive Player of the Week in my opinion because, a dominant performance, wins in an OT, fantastic game. Raiders get a much-needed win. The Chiefs take out the Rams 26-10. The Mahomes MVP agenda continues, even though it wasn't, his best game, but the man still had 320 in the touchdown. Bryce Perkins started this game for the Rams, and that's really all I should say about how, their offensive production went in this game. It was an ugly game, but you know what? The Chiefs win, and you know what? This week, that's about that you'll take it. You'll take it. The way this week went for a lot of teams, you'll take an ugly win. Another ugly game, but a great defensive game, was the Sunday night game between the 49ers and the Saints. Or it wasn't Sunday night. It was, that was just the last kind of 4 p.m. game. But anyways, 49ers get it done. CMC got a little, banged up in this game. Dog wasn't great. Garoppolo got a touchdown, though. Robbie Gould, they blanked them. It was a great defensive performance. That's all I really need to say. Congrats to the 49ers. They get it done. Will get superiority over Jamal in the group chat. You know how that goes. Shout out to the 49ers fans that are in my family, as well as in my friend group. Good week for y'all. Good week for y'all. Y'all take out the Saints fans. It's kind of like a war, So it's it was like a nice little mini war going on. But yeah, 49ers get the win. Eagles take out the Packers on Sunday Night Football. yeah, they moved to 10-1. Packers just yeah, y'all beat us, but y'all always beat us, and that's about it. That's gonna be the highlight of the year. It's gonna be the highlight of the year for y'all. Christian Watson continues to be phenomenal these past couple weeks. 4 receptions, 110, and a touchdown. However, he pretty much did everything because A-Rod was horrid. He got hurt. 2 picks. Just it was a bad game for A-Rod. However, Jordan Love looked good. I've come on here before. I said it was a bad pick. You know what? He sat for long enough where it might be doable. It might be doable. He might be the guy one day. He looked like the guy in this game. 6 for 9, 113, and a touchdown for Jordan. He played good. He played good. Christian Watson played good. The young talent played well for the Packers. However, that was not enough to beat the best team in the league in terms of record. Jay Hurts, 153 passing, 157 rushing, 2 touchdowns. They ran for 363 yards because Miles Sanders also had 143 and 2 touchdowns. Packers could not stop the run. The young players played well, but again, could not stop the run. Eagles reaffirmed their spot atop of the NFL standings by taking out the Packers. And an interesting week. Like I said, recurring themes. Got to show up in the clutch. Some teams did, some teams didn't. All right, and to end off here with the Roundup, as always. And it's mostly hoops, so if you're a hoops fan, here we go. This is the segment for you. Bron drops 39 versus the Spurs. I've bashed the Lakers a lot this year, early on, but you know what? Looking a little bit better lately. Looking a little bit better. Again, it was still the Spurs. They're tanking for Wemby like everybody else, but looking a little bit better. Bron getting back into a shooting rhythm. Coincidentally, it's also the same time that Bronny got back from sickness. So I don't know. Maybe they're just linking up. He had to wait till his son got back for Bron to, reaffirm his spot atop the NBA hierarchy. But we'll see. All right, we'll see. He drops a very efficient 39 versus the Spurs. Also in the NBA, Zubac had 31 and 29 for the Clippers versus the Pacers yesterday. An absolute monster game for him, just kind of out of nowhere. Nearly a 30-30 game, which is, I don't know when the last time that's happened. But it was probably like Hassan to beat or something. Not Hassan to beat, oh dear God. Probably like Hassan Whiteside, stat padding or something. Or maybe Embiid. Somebody I think did it last year actually. And I forget who it was. But almost 30-30 for Zubac, 31 and 29. Outrageous. They get the win versus the Pacers. In women's college basketball, UConn took on Iowa. Should have been a great matchup between Paige Buckers and Caitlin Clark. Instead, we got Ozzie Fudd versus Caitlin Clark, which was pretty much just as good. Ozzie has been fantastic. 24 points in this game. She's averaging 26 for the season. Kate had 25, 7, and 6. It wasn't efficient though, and they got the L because UConn got the win 86-79. But might not be the last time these two teams match up. Could see that in the tournament at some point in the Elite Eight or Sweet 16. Caitlin Clark continues to be one of the best players in the country, and Ozzie Fudd is starting to emerge as one of the best players in the country. So something to watch and monitor as we go on. It was a bad week for Carolina, like I said. They lost on Saturday, and then they lost on Sunday, and then they lost in football. The only thing good that happened was Erin Matson became one of the GOAT female athletes by winning the field hockey championship. So congrats to them on that. But otherwise, it was a horrible weekend, okay? They lose to Bama in an instant classic, 103-101. Caleb Williams had 34 on 36 shots. Sears had 24. JQ had 21, 6, and 8. Charles Badako had 14 and 16. And the Crimson Tide get it done. Get a big win against Carolina, who will absolutely not be number 1 next week after they lost 2 straight. They're reeling. We'll see if they can get it together, but it was a great game. Armando Bacot had 20 and 10. Finally had more than 6 shots, but it wasn't enough. Just was not enough, and Bama gets the win. Purdue, Zach Edey. All right, I watched everybody all offseason say Zach Edey was just not that guy. He was overrated, all this and that. He doesn't feel overrated anymore, all right? He's averaging 20 and 10 for the season, and he just bullied us into a win, all right? Single-handedly, nearly. Not that Purdue, Caleb First showed up too, and not the rest of the team wasn't solid. But we, even with all of our 7-footers and all of our talent, could do nothing about him. He killed us on the boards. He killed us because he just was taller than everybody and could score. I mean, he was a problem. He was a problem. We get blown out by Purdue, 75-56. Edey had 21 and 12. He looked like prime Shaq or prime Yao. I don't know. but he was just dominant. He was dominant. We couldn't do anything about it. We wasted a great Tyrese Proctor game. And you know what? It's a rebuilding year. It's the truth. It's a rebuilding year. I'm not going to be too upset. I did not have too overly high expectations for this team. So we'll see. They'll get better. But yeah, Purdue just dominated us. Only way to think about that. But yeah, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that covers everything in the notes. And yeah, it's been a great episode. A lot happened. We'll talk about the end of the group stage next week in the World Cup. Hopefully America did not let us down against Iran. And it'll be conference championship week in college football. So yeah, plenty to talk about next week. But for episode 121, Ocho, signing off.